you have this high-end luxury type item. It's all brand.
But I think people, they don't just purchase to purchase nowadays. I think people purchase your belief. I think people purchase your vibe. If you do good in life,
There's no certainty.
no.
And you have to be able to tolerate that.
I figured, oh, sail away jewelry,
Yeah.
That was my branding.
But everybody always starts at the top, like, what am I going to name this?
Yes.
What's my logo going to look like? And sometimes if you start from the bottom to the top,
yeah,
you build something that's super like meaningful. Welcome to the Daring Dreams podcast. I'm your host, Hayley Bohan, and I'm here with Vero Arseneault, who is the founder of Bijou Sail Away, Ava Rose, which is a high-end jewelry brand, as well as she has a tattoo place called Octagon.
Yes, absolutely.
Octagon. She does Airbnb. So this girl, if you're one of her who is just like, I just can't stop myself, I need to like create, you are going to definitely resonate with Vero. Vero was a client a couple of years ago, and I wanted to have her on the show because, well, a few reasons. One is she like oozes creativity and love. And when I had sessions with her, like I looked forward to them every single time. I think I probably got more out of them than she did. And I just have such a big spot in my heart for Vero. So I wanted to bring her on because she is going to be so inspiring to you guys. Her story, her entrepreneurial journey, what she's done, it's all so inspiring. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're just going to shoot the shit. And Vero and I are just going to have a conversation about her life and her journey as a small business owner.
Sounds amazing.
Okay. All right. So Vero, let's start off by kind of giving, I kind of want to start with the ending. Okay. Just so people can see like, wow. And then we can kind of go backwards for you.
Yes.
So when I met Vero, she was creating a new brand of jewelry. Can you give us why that was necessary for you, a little bit about that brand, and then we'll kind of go back on your journey.
Okay, sounds good. So people might not know, before I still am a teacher. I studied to be a teacher, and then I did a master's degree to be a special ed teacher, resource teacher. And fast forward to all my teaching years, I lost one of my students because she was lesbian. So she committed suicide, unfortunately. Back then, in those days, it was very taboo. There was no teaching, not even mentioning LGBT in schools. And at that moment, I knew I lost one, and one was already way too much. I promised myself that I would do something in my power to change the way I would teach kids, and hopefully try to destigmatize. So yes, and to teach people about diversity. First thing I noticed is when I became myself pregnant, my baby was inside my belly, and stereotypes were already super present. Like as soon as I knew the sex and not the gender, I got pink pajamas. My grandma wanted what color will be the room? Will it be pink, purple? All those dolls, everything was so stereotypes. So that put me like in a state of mind that it even starts before the human is born. And then it brought me to, because I was creating jewelry, of course, on the sideline. And I've been thinking like all my jewelry was very much consumed by women, or people who identify as women. And if it was a man, well, it was very like the traditional, a big leather, very masculinity, what we know of stereotype jewelry. So that kind of sparked a place of, okay, what about the jewelry for everybody? And that's where I start mingling in my head. Okay, I have this brand, Sail Away. I want to do this Ava Rose concept that would be very more inclusive and for jewelry for everyone. But then I didn't know how to make it. So then that's how you entered my life and helped me with that.
So I kind of want to share how good you are at what you do before we go back. So when I met Vero, she's modest, right? And so you guys, whoever's listening, if you are very good at what you do, it's a gift to everybody who needs you. If they don't know how good you are, they're not going to get that gift that you have to offer, that gift that was given to you. So Vero, tell everybody about kind of who wears your jewelry and how you're like, give us the big like highlights of how good you are. I know this is going to be uncomfortable for you.
Extremely. I even became emotional because that's probably one of my my biggest part as an entrepreneur to raise up, because it's very hard to talk about yourself or your brand or what you're doing. Mostly it's other people that talks about me and not myself that talks about where's my jewelry at. But I live in a very rural, extremely small community. It's called Charlotte. But when I say Charlotte, even when I went like in the States or where I go with the jewelry, I say New Brunswick. They don't even know. And then they say, oh, is that Toronto, Canada? And I'm like, no, bitch. And then in New Brunswick, no man, never mind Charlotte, you know? So it's very, very small where I live. And how I've been raised was to be either a nurse or, you know, a teacher, because that was very safe in rural, small town. Even though, as far as I can remember, like, I don't know, I can't remember, 5, 6 years old, there's tiny little beads, and I was making my own bracelets, and the creative side has always been part of me. But it was always bring back in school or with my family, because they wanted the best out of me. You need to study, you need to be those jobs, you know, because this is safe. There's nurse everywhere, there's teachers everywhere. And fast forward to that, now my jewelry, just last week, Sunday night, if you watch the Emmys, the 76th edition of Emmys, Michael Bella Bowman was wearing one of my my necklace and a big ring that I made. And the highest part for myself, that's her and her management then contact me, so I didn't have to promote my brand. It was them that reached out to me. So that's the first time it happened in that way, without like agency or other people in between. So that was very amazing.
That's actually huge, right?
Yes.
Because you're being noticed for your art. Like it is literally, like what she does, you guys, is literally art. Yeah. And so at the Emmys this year, and then a few years ago at the Emmys.
Yes, I did the 74th edition of the Emmys with there was 3 celebrities that chose my jewelry back then. The 75th, I was one of the 10th entrepreneur invited to go, but unfortunately there was the strike of the celebrity strike that was needed for for defending their rights, but it got canceled and pushed back, so that kind of fell apart. And then I raised back up, and you know how sometimes life will have bigger surprise for you. And then this year at the 76th award, the jewelry was there. Back then it was at the Paris Fashion Festival also, and way before at the Grammys pre-party. So it's been like a few events. We've been featured in, and see, I say we, but it's hard to say hi. I've been featured in Vogue magazine also, and on the morning show with Whoopi Goldberg, and at the premiere of Oprah Winfrey with Sidney Poitier's movie. So it's all kinds of
I didn't know that. Oh my gosh.
It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So you guys, this is like the most modest person, but literally being noticed because of the talent that she has. And also not just the talent, but the persistence to be bold and go for it. Right?
Yes. Yes. And I think with this, the brand Ava Rose, like the sail away brand is mostly consumed in New Brunswick, right? So I always felt like I always felt like I had to narrow down, tone down my vibe so it would be consumed, right? Because if I do all those extravagant jewelry, people in New Brunswick will probably put it in a museum, you know, they won't wear it.
It's art.
It's art. So I felt like if I need, you know, to run a business, you still need to have the money to keep going, right? So the sail away brand is more toned down. That's okay. It's consumed. People really like it and all that. But for myself, I always felt like, ooh, I have all those ideas in my head, but I can't make it because nobody's gonna buy it from me. So that's where Ava Rose gives me this this liberty or this space to just let go what's in my head and just make it happen, you know? So I find there's less restriction, either about like what we talked, the gender restriction, the socioeconomic restriction, the lookout of other people on what you're wearing, you know, in New Brunswick, well, where I'm from, people tend to, you know, try to fit in, and they're not very bold. Yeah, I would say. And even myself, I'd say if I've been raised in New York, oh my goodness, I don't know what I would look like, but definitely I would have a different style, you know? So I'm still in that little box that society creates, you know, especially when we're from small town. So with Ava Rose, I think this gives me like a place just to be myself.
And to get out of that box. Your brand evolution, as we worked through it, was pretty inspiring. And the change that we had with your brand was just probably the most drastic change that I've had with any client in terms of the look, the vibe. We pulled you right out of that small rural town. And the biggest change, and I will show it on my social media and stuff, was like the look. Like after we kind of got the depth of it, which was the brand purpose being all about gender equality.
Yes.
No, not really. Well, how would you word it?
Gender equality, but mostly like just be you. And it's inspired by inspiring people. Like there's so many people that's so inspiring, and they don't need to be all celebrities or all famous people. Like the brand of Ava Rose itself, there's people, the name of the jewelry is made by people that lives like me and you, but they don't maybe know they're inspiring. But for me, they changed my life, you know? So that being said, like inspired by inspiring people, no matter your sex assigned at birth, or no matter your gender identity, because still even gender identity is still in boxes, right? It's still society that label boxes. So just about being you. If you like it, wear it. It's as simple as that, you know?
Jewelry for every human. That's how we worded it, isn't it?
Yes, jewelry for every human.
Jewelry for every human. I love that. And then when you say inspired by inspiring people, that was your brand promise.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that was, and I remember when we came up with that, like that was like,
I remember it too.
So it's sort of like when I go back to, like, it's all about the brand, like in terms of like getting that noticeability.
Yes.
And then tell them about the packaging, because the packaging, like, what did you write in it? It was like the best.
Packaging is that the box with all the bold colors, right? So when you open the box, it says "Why fit in when you were born to stand out." And I find with the packaging, as soon as you open it, it gives you this vibe of, damn right, you know, I'm gonna wear it. And the little paper itself will say like full inclusivity. There's all inspiring, so all the little keywords that resonate with the brand, right?
Oh, I love it. It's such a gorgeous brand. So you guys need to, we're going to get into Vero's story, like how she got to where she is. But if you need to pause this and go look at her Instagram and see what we're talking about. Like, this is not just a necklace like this. Like, this is this is a beautiful necklace too, but it's this was also locally made, but it's a different style. Yes. But this is like big, chunky, like really bold, you know? Some industrial, like she's got a bunch of different stuff. It's just art, like I said. Yeah. So why fit in when you were born to stand out? And so the reason why we were able to come up with this is that she actually did the customer research. She interviewed the celebs who were wearing her jewelry, and also some of the other inspiring people in her life who were wearing her jewelry. And we found out what was important to them. And they did want to stand out. And so we could really, really help them to do that through the pieces, the unique pieces that they wore. So really, really inspiring. Okay. So tell us about, like, how did you get started jewelry making and like the evolution of your career? Because I think that's very interesting and bold. And so I'm just going to let you share that.
Okay. So as you know, I was being brought up to be, you know, traditional job, you know, Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. Very important to have those insurance when you retire, retirement plan, all this, because way back my dad lost his job also, so working at the mill. So that created like trauma in my family, and because of that, I've been born this way and raised this way. I mean, so fast forward, here I go. I looked up at the university classes and courses, and then I seen program and education and art. So, you know, a baccalaureate in art and education. So I figured, oh my God, could be a teacher, but there's art on the side. So I figured that's good. I'll get the creativity side of it. So fast forward, I go at university at UDM, University of Moncton, and the art part was the language art. So I got really bumped out very fast.
Surprised.
Yes, surprise. It was language art, Acadian language art. So it wasn't art, like I had to figure in my head. But the thing is, every day that I would walk to my faculty, I needed to go by the visual art all the way. So every single day I would walk there. I would even leave earlier to be able to look at the student work and doing all those art. I remember those big sculpture. There was sand art. There was all kinds of jewelry art. There was everything. And I knew I belonged there, but I need to cross that hallway and keep going at my Acadian art class. So it always kind of triggered me in my mind, my heart. I knew, and I always said, once I'll retire, I'll go back and just be the student that, you know, you can go at the class just to do the
once
class.
I retire. She's talking like 40 years from when she 50
yes
years
because I thought it wasn't possible, you know. And so I did my my teaching degree, and here I go. I start in Fredericton at École Saint-Anne, and I got that first paycheck. So that first paycheck, there was Emmy jewelry back in the Region Mall. I figure it probably still there because it's, well, maybe not at the Region Mall, but still probably in Fredericton. It was called What on Earth. So I had seen this bracelet. It was amazing. It was bold. It was colorful, bright. It was all full of Swarovski crystal, and every single color was in there. So obviously I always dress with patterns, and I never wear black. So I figured, oh, this bracelet will match with everything, right? So I had my paycheck, and my mom said, well, go spoil yourself. Go buy that bracelet. So I tried it on. It looked like firework. It was all full of little crystal and very, very bold. And once I said, okay, I you know, in my head, I said, I'll buy it. And then they told me the price, and I was like, oh, okay, wait a minute here. It's gonna take almost my entire paycheck. And then I said, my goodness. I said, how come it's so, you know, it's not in white gold? And they said, no, it's been handmade, and it's made with Swarovski crystals. And I didn't know anything about that. You know, it was sterling silver made locally. And I said, well, where do they purchase their stuff? And they said to me, across the bridge. Unfortunately, that the store is not there anymore.
Yeah.
But it was a bead store across the bridge in Fredericton. And I said, so they buy the beads there and the material. They say, yeah, it's all made here. So I said, okay, just hold on to it. I'll be back. I might be back. And then there I went across the bridge, and I spent probably the same amount of money.
Yeah.
But I purchased everything. I didn't know anything that I needed. I asked that lady, I said, I want to start making jewelry, and I purchased everything. And then here I was, a self-taught artist for a few years.
Wow. And your shop is so full of gorgeous, beautiful, like I decided to get a tattoo. And of course, as you know, you can tell I like absolutely adore Vero. So I'm like, I'm going to drive the 5 hours to the most rural place in New Brunswick. And I'm going to get Vero to do my tattoo because she's an artist and she also does that. And so I did. It's like, I don't know, you can't really see it, but yeah. Anyways, so she's like, oh, do you want to see the shop while you're here, the store? I go in. Oh my gosh, you guys. I bought so much stuff, didn't I? I was like, it was crazy, but everything was so beautiful. And the girl I was with bought a ton of stuff too. Like it was just, I'm like, and I want to go back just to buy stuff. So that's the bijou sail away, which is more affordable, more, you know, a little bit less like bold, I guess.
No,
it's like some of the pieces are bold, but not like the Ava Rose. But there was a few.
You could wear it every day, you know?
Yeah. So then you started making jewelry, and then what happened?
And then I started making jewelry because I was a self-taught artist. Some of them, I never worked with the fil, like just like a string. I always work with metal. Everything I wanted to do was with metal. And I wanted would gem and cut my own gem and work my own metal. And I wanted to be a metalsmith, but back then I didn't even know it existed, you know? So I couldn't have the words to say what I wanted to do. So because I was trying by myself, and then so people started to ask, could I buy it? I was like, buy it? No, I'll give it to you, you know? So, and then fast forward, people start buying it for their kids at prom, and then for weddings. And then I got approached to do like a museum piece. Exactly. There was like a concours, like that you could create a piece and it could be shown in a museum. So I did that back then in Fredericton.
Okay.
At the art college. And then I applied to do my jewelry class, but as I was a teacher, I got this special like permission to break that class in summer course. And it was taught by Trudy Gallagher. Trudy Gallagher for me is like the Celine Dion, you know, it's like, I remember she even touched my arm one day. She says, you have the monkey arm. You have to put your elbow on the table. You'll get sore. And I was like, oh my goodness, she touched my hand. I was the biggest fan of Trudy Gallagher. She used to own Bejeweled back in Fredericton. And I used to go there every single Saturday morning and just watch by the window. The people that created for Trudy. Like, I knew I belonged in there. It's just, I didn't know it was accessible for me. I didn't know it was a possibility, you know? So yeah, I learned to do jewelry. And then that's how I started from market. I never thought I was going to do a business out of it, from market to market. And the typical, you know, lots of people are doing that, farmers market and all that. And then it became so big that people would knock on my door where I used to live and ask to see the jewelry. And it was on my kitchen table. And, you know, it was very disorganized. And then I said, okay, I'll rent this little shop. I rented it. It got success. I had to have an employee. So it kind of got bigger and bigger. And I still needed a lot of help with, you know, women in business in New Brunswick. And then all this branding it's a complete world in business, that branding, marketing. Then again, I had no clue as a business owner that I was just even to say a business owner was big for me, you know? Yeah. But all that branding and just for me was sail away because I'm in front of the most beautiful bay, one of the most beautiful bay, Baie des Chaleurs, and my favorite boat is a sailboat. So I figured, oh, sail away jewelry, you know? Yeah. That was my branding. And my logo, I drew a sailboat. That was my branding, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people do is they start their brand from the top down, right? Like, I don't know if you remember, but I always show this picture of an iceberg.
Yes. Yeah.
You remember that? Yes. And on the bottom of the iceberg is like the brand purpose and like the promise and all the stuff about your customers and your values and like all the like heart and soul of your business. And then on the top is like, what does it look like and what does it sound like? Yeah. Which is really important. But everybody always starts at the top, like, what am I going to name this? Yes. What's my logo going to look like? And sometimes if you start from the bottom to the top, you build something that's super like meaningful and it's going to be different than what it would have started at the top.
Absolutely. And see, I experienced both because with Sail Away, I started top to bottom. Yeah. And to this day, I think I changed the logo like 5 times. I still to this day, I'm like, it doesn't vibe with what it is. I know what's my purpose of Sail Away, you know, affordability made by women, because still the women inequality in business is still not equal. And then unique. It has to be, there's not two alike, you know? So I know that for Sail Away, but it's still not branded that good. And then Ava Rose, I started when the bottom, went up, went back down, went back up, went back down to finally have it so on point that when I look at the logo, the colors, the boxing, the packaging, like every single thing, even the picture, everything, I'm so proud of it. It's so, it resonates with who I am and what I want to do, you know? So
it makes so much sense.
So much sense. And I love it so much that I'm not even in my head, oh, should I tweak this or should I, it's like set, it's like that. And I very like, even the display, everything is such on brand and it's me in a packaging.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's the most bold. It's very well done. Anyway, she's a creative. So obviously the external part would be really well done too. So, okay. So what did your parents think when you decided to like kind of pursue this a little bit more? Cause they're kind of like in the safety zone, right?
Yeah. Safety zone. My dad, a little bit less. My mom, she's very in the safety zone for safety, right? Exactly. Safety zone for
Yeah.
safety.
Yeah.
Because I've been raised that as a woman, you don't need anybody in your life. You should be able to rely on yourself no matter what happened. You do you. So I've been raised, like, I think that's the first main values I've been raised by my parents, to be
Yes.
just successful by myself.
Yeah.
Independent. So
Independently able to
yeah.
take care of yourself.
Yes. So because my dad lost his job, my mom was a secretary. So she was dependent a little bit of, dependency for money or for,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I've been raised like that, which is a true gift for myself. But afterwards, like, all this this experience led to, okay, I've been to university, did my baccalaureate, 5 years there. Then I do my master degree, although I crashed that in a year instead of two.
Yeah.
But it's still 6 years of university. And my parents really, well, I was lucky enough, they helped me financially to do all my studies and stuff. And then I was gonna announce to my parents that, you know what, I'm not gonna teach anymore and I'll do art.
Oh my word.
So it was, well, I mean, parents, like, they'll always be their kids' first fan. So they were like, okay. My mom was like, okay, well, what about your pension plan? Because if you're a teacher, if you know a teacher, you know that the pension plan is pretty awesome. So I was like, yeah, well, let's put that on ice for a little bit. And what about your insurance? Yeah, that too, but and then
You have
again,
to
it's
be
all
a risk taker to do. I
yes,
feel like to be in business, there's no certainty.
no,
And you have to be able to tolerate that.
absolutely. And I think it's then again, it's all stereotypes of society that you're supposed to work 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. You're supposed to have insurance. You're supposed to have all this pension plan. But what about burnouts? What about not going to the work and wishing for a snow day? What about going to work and calling in sick? Like, every single day I'm so hyped to wake up and just go and have what I have in my head and do it, and and be your own boss and be your own, like, if your energy vibe is more low, sometimes I'm not as creative, then I'll do packaging, I'll order beads, I'll do sketches and stuff like that needs less creativity. But then when I have these sparks, holy man, it's just like a poof, it's just like a box that opens up and blows up with all those possibility. And I think that is more important than pension for me now. Because do we know, are we going to get to the pension? I don't know. If we do, how is going to be our mental
choose
health?
today.
Yeah. So
choose happiness today.
Try every day.
Every day.
And I love life. I love life. So
me too.
Yeah. And I feel like we're not grateful enough, like, I'm able to live healthy and to do what I love every single day and to be excited. Like, it's not work. I see people go to work, oh my goodness, on an automatic, like, they go to work just to wish for Friday.
Yes.
Why would you live like that? Like, but then again, society has us, like, thinking that's the only way we can live. Nobody tells
it's
you
so
can
interesting that you say that. I got to tell you this funny story. So September rolled around this year, September, and I was like, I'm very non-routine, right? So I don't like structure.
No,
I don't like routine, but I was like, I can't, like, I feel like I need a routine to get better, right? Because sometimes when you don't have routine, you don't have consistency, and we need consistency. No. So I was talking to one of my friends and she's so structured. She's like, okay, you're going to start working from 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. until 3, like nonstop. That's your work time. Then you can work out, then you can do whatever. And because I'm trying to, like, cut back on my hours. ChatGPT, you guys.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God.
So anyway, so trying to cut back on my hours. So I do it for a week. By Thursday, I'm like, oh my God, I cannot wait for this week to be over. That was the first, my business has been in business for 7 years. I think that was the first time that I was like, I want this week to be over. And as soon as I got that feeling, I'm like, okay, I'm not doing it right anymore.
No. Yeah.
Like, now it's a job versus a passion. Exactly. And I'm not doing it right anymore. And so now I've had to, like, reverse and figure out, like, what am I going to do to, like, keep that passion going inside me for this, or is it time for a change?
Yes.
So I have changed up my business somewhat. I've added some things to like make it like more exciting for me. I'll just say it because it's already talked about it. So I'm doing like these marketing on purpose days. I don't know
Yes.
if you saw them, Vero, but it's
Yes,
like
I saw.
local businesses.
Yes.
And so like I'm bringing together like these local small business owners, and we're like plowing through their marketing, but I get to hop from person to person, and like my creativity's firing,
Oh,
and I'm
I'm
doing all these
sure.
different things. And so I started to bring this into my business because I was like, I need something that's like gonna like light that fire again. So it's
Yeah.
similar to you. Like I need those people like to feed off of. So
Yes.
anyway, that's going to be a bigger part of marketing on purpose as we go. And I'm hoping to get into cities and have it be bigger. And, but like, it's totally like, but as soon as I got to, I'm working and not being passionate, that's when I was like, I need to start. That was my funny story about like routine. Like sometimes like you got to build the life that you want.
Exactly. And not wait for it, and not like we said, you know, you don't need to live in Montreal to do it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like if it's art, it's art. You can do it wherever. If it's singing, you know, if it's something different, you can do it. You know, anyways, nowadays the world is so small. It's a click away.
Yeah.
See, I sent a package yesterday to New York. I went to post office, send it. It's there. It's there in 3 days. Like it's, you know,
And like
customer. They
people
can be
who
all
are
around.
in these big, huge cities are noticing your jewelry. They want to wear it to like the biggest nights of their lives. Like
Yeah,
it is, the world is
mind-blowing.
so small now. Like it doesn't matter where you live.
No
If you've got the fire and the passion and
passion.
the perseverance, because it's not like we're like, oh, it's great, but it's not always.
It's not easy.
Uncertainty, lulls in business is pretty
Yes.
scary.
Yes. Do the
There's like a
switch,
lot
you
of
know,
like,
like if you had this secure job to do that switch, it's super scary. I'm somebody who's like loves adrenaline. I'm, you know, impulsive. I never think about what if, you know, I don't think about that. I'm just so impulsive. I'm
yeah,
excessive, you know, and it was scary for me to do it. So I figured lots of people that's more like restrained, and it
yeah,
must be very scary. But just to break it in, I remember one time you had done that with me to break my goals, and because I felt overwhelmed like with little goals and
yeah,
persistence, you know, to keep always doing it.
yes,
Consistence and persistence. So
yeah. It's the
consistence in English is probably
consistency.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
that word.
French
So
is
if
her
you,
first language, everybody.
yeah, no, English is not my first language. But and in passion, we talk about passion, but then again, passion that has not been tweaked by society. The real passion,
Mm.
the real fire that's inside of you without the what if, you know,
Oh,
that
society,
is
like
important.
it is a box. Society sometimes puts us in this little box. And I know like my journey was very similar to yours. It was
Yeah.
like, what is the safe route for me?
Mm-hmm.
And anybody who's read my book, I talk about that. And
Yes.
I took the safe route. I took the business degree because there's always
Mm-hmm.
going to be a job in business.
Absolutely.
Like that kind of thing. Now, luckily I found part of that program opened up my eyes to something I didn't know existed, which was marketing, which I really loved and allowed me to be creative and stuff like that, and analytical, because I'm both, like I'm
Yeah.
creative and analytical. But yeah, I started out the same way, playing it pretty safe. And it's hard to like, I'm definitely less of a risk taker than you. Like it took me 10 years to actually like leave corporate
Yeah.
and like, do something on my own.
Yeah.
10 years of like starts and stops, start
Yeah.
and stop.
Yeah.
Like I got funding, I got like, thousands and thousands of dollars for ideas that I've had. I gave it all back because I got scared. Like it was like, yeah, it's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard.
It
But
is.
once you do
Yeah.
it, it's hard to go back. Like, I don't
But
know if
you
I
know,
could ever
like
go
it's
back.
yeah, it's the same for me. But I find when you've been to corporate or government job, or when you have been through what we've been through, I always say, I'm still a teacher and you're still in business. So
Yeah.
what if jewelry doesn't is not consumed anymore? Well, I'm still a
Go back.
teacher, you know? You're still in
Yeah.
business. We can still have a job. So that the worst come to worst, we're still okay. So why not take a
Yes.
risk? Why not change it? Like, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like, and I say this to my husband sometimes, I'm like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Like if we decide to do this one thing,
Yeah.
Like, what is the absolute worst thing that could happen? And can you live with that? Can you get yourself out of that? And the answer is always yes. If you have the confidence, perseverance, and know yourself, the answer will be yes.
Yeah.
We're all stronger than we think.
Oh, definitely. And I feel like my life, I don't want to do, I should have. I don't
Yeah.
want to live with the I should have. So every time in French we say, ah, si j'avais, I
Yes. Si
should have.
j'avais.
So every time I say I should have, let's do it. It's not a
Oh, I
mistake.
like
It's going to be a
that.
learning opportunity, So there's nothing to be mistake. There's no life that's pure and very straight and all, beautiful pink life. It doesn't exist in my book anyway. Everybody has their own battles. So why wouldn't you do the should have?
Do it. Yeah. And I think that people are more forgiving now to, like, I always used to be scared, like, what are people going to think if I fail? Like, what if I'm not the best? What if I don't, like, if I try this and no one cares.
No,
nobody cares what you do. They just care about themselves. So just like fail forward and like keep learning.
Exactly. And
That
if
was
you
a big
fail, it's a
lesson for me.
learning. It's learning. And if you
So
succeed, it's learning too.
exactly. So what would you give to business owners who are feeling kind of like stalled? This is a good question, because like they're just like sailing by, maybe like, because you had mentioned, and I have a lot of clients like this who are selling at farmers markets and stuff.
Yeah.
But they want to do more. What do they do? Like if they're at the farmers market every weekend and they're like, I'm just like, I like this, but I want to make it bigger.
Yeah. For myself, it was a question of, is there money? Like I didn't want to do like a loan or like, so for myself, if you're a woman or identify as a woman, I would go for sure for Women in Business New Brunswick. They were so helpful to all do those puzzle for me of the money that's accessible, opportunity in New Brunswick, Travail NB. There's all kinds of, those nice programs.
Yeah.
But before spending that money, because I spent a lot of money that if I knew what I know now because of working with you, I would have spent it differently, So to know that you're not alone, that's for sure.
Yes.
To know that and know everything that exists in New Brunswick or their own province. But before that, definitely, if it's not an Hayley Bohan, go find somebody like Hayley. I suggest you because you changed my entire brand and my entire business completely. And it's not sale anymore, like now I'm good and I'm autonomy you develop in me also to have those questions in my head and not be so impulsive and, just, you have to go forward for sure, but it needs to be, thought of in your head and exactly bottom up, like know your purpose, know your why, know who's your target, your persona, who you want to reach, all that concept, all those education I didn't have. You don't learn that in school. You don't learn that in university. Anyways, not when I went. So yes, you're not alone, but start by making your brand a brand on purpose, a brand that's resonate with who you are, that's going to make you vibe so high when you're in your brand and when you're working on your brand that it's not working.
Oh, I love that. That is like, I didn't know you were going to go there, but that's very interesting. The idea of creating a business from this place of like heart, purpose, and passion, and like who you are, create the business from who you are first.
Yeah.
And express it in whatever you want, like jewelry, bakery, whatever. But if you can start it from here, then you're going to be connected to it.
Always. Yeah. And you're not going to get bored of it. You're not going to bet like, oh, you see some people, especially in art, you'll see some people start something, they're very good at it. And then, 2 years goes by. It's not so much in the la mode, the popular stuff. So instead of tweaking it and keeping it connected with their heart and their brand and their purpose, they're just going to stop. So it was like a quick money on the side, but they have the talent. They have the business aspect of it. It's just sometimes you need to, but I think if your brand is very, it's a brand that connects with you, I think you're not going to get bored of it and you're going to thrive. I mean, I thrive and you thrive through pandemic. Like how do you sell jewelry when people don't work, when there's no wedding, when there's no prom, and you still sell jewelry? Like that to me is like still mind blowing. But I think people, they don't just purchase to purchase nowadays, because Amazon, you would just purchase from Amazon, right?
Yeah.
So I think people purchase who you are. I think people purchase your belief. I think people purchase your vibe, if you do good in life. I think that's what's behind, like, because I talk, like when we did the interview with the celebrities and stuff that I did with working with you, they didn't, yes, they love the jewelry, but I mean, they can purchase any kind of jewelry. They don't have a problem with money. They don't have a problem with suppliers. They have all those stores. So why my jewelry, you know? And what they came back always was what we do, the sentimental part of our brand. And by working with a brand worth loving or your program, it's all about who you are in your brand, you know? So I think when you purchase a piece of my jewelry, you definitely purchase a piece of my heart. It's as it is.
I love that. Yeah. And for you, especially because your brand is like, some businesses are a little bit different. So some businesses are more commodity, like you sell, but you can always make the brand matter. So like you sell potatoes, you're a potato farmer and you sell potatoes. You can always make those potatoes matter and that brand stand out. Right now, there's going to come a point where people are like, I can't pay twice as much for potatoes just because of the brand.
Yeah,
probably. Right.
Yeah.
But in your situation, it's like you have this high end luxury type item. It's all brand. It's like, and beauty. Like obviously the product has to be gorgeous, but like, it's like, if that brand doesn't resonate with who's buying it, they're going to buy something else somewhere else. Right.
Definitely.
Like, I mean, your jewelry is obviously gorgeous and different and unique, and that's how you got your start.
Yes.
But to get the continuation, like people want to connect with something bigger than themselves. They want, like, at least for your clients, it was like, I want to show people who I am through this piece of jewelry.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's probably people that's very inclusive also, people that do goods, people with pure soul, you know, people that believe in good, and they probably love life too, because if you wear it, you know, it's inclusive, you know, it's bold, you know, it's unique, you know, it's for breaking stereotypes. So it's all those values for my brand that's easy to connect, right?
Yeah. And it's not just celebrities, you guys, that can wear Ava Rose. We're just like talking about that, but it's like really anybody who doesn't feel like they should just fade into the background.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, if you're a bold person and you want to shine. I remember when I was having my sessions with Vero, even today, like I was like trying to be a little bit bolder in my look, because I remember one time she's like, Hayley, like your personality is so like, but like, you're not wearing the big stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's so true. So then I would have the sessions with her and I'd be like, trying to like look bolder.
I remember.
But it felt good. It feels good to connect with that part of yourself and not be afraid to show who you are on the inside onto the outside.
Exactly.
Okay. So we're kind of wrapping up. Do you have, let's tell people, and I'm also going to share it in the show notes, how can they see the Ava Rose brand, buy Sail Away? Like, how do they connect with you? And you guys, if you don't follow Vero, you should be following the Ava Rose brand for sure. It's doing some beautiful stuff. It's inspiring. Okay. How do they find
for the Ava Rose, it's every Ava Rose or Sail Away. There's the LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Ava Rose has his TikTok, but I'm still, we're still learning the TikTok thing. I'm still having
me too. I post some stuff, but it's not my strong suit.
But anyways, I still have a TikTok for Ava Rose. So it's Ava Rose by Vero Thibault. And if you just write Ava Rose jewelry, you'll find it. Hayley was very good with me with all the search engine and all the optimizing of the search in Google. So if you just search for Emmy jewelry, even New Brunswick, you'll find me. You can find Ava Rose or Bijou Sail Away jewelry, same thing, Facebook, Instagram. Just Google. You did a pretty good job in the search engine optimization on my brand, because you just have to write probably my name, Vero Jewelry, you'll find it. The Octagon is mostly just on Facebook, because I need to, there's only so many hours in a day, and when you're a business
that's
owner,
sort of like your passion, like just not your full-time, obviously.
No, it's not my full-time. It's just it's just another way to create, right? To express myself and to create, and to at least break a little bit of stereotypes, because you're a teacher that tattoos, that's pretty That's pretty hardcore to break stereotypes.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Vero. So amazing, and fills my heart to connect with you again. And congratulations on all your success. I just know that it's just going to continue. Like, there's just no way people are like, it's just going to be a huge brand. And I'm just so excited to be part of it with you.
Thank you. And when
Love
you say
you.
your success, we could say our success, because there's no success in I think there's you in my success. There's a lot of people, women in business. There's this amazing designer that worked for my graphic design. There's so many people. So it's not my success, but our success. And you're a very, and I just don't say that because you're in front of me. I often talk about you. I often recommend you. I still do. It's our success, and you're a huge part of it. So I
Oh,
really thank you, and I love
thank you.
you.
Love it. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.